everyone, welcome back to my new show, What a Time to Be Aligned. It's your girl Silva, and I'm here today with...
Vuj. I go by the name of Vuj, and I'm happy to be here, feeling relatively aligned.
I love that.
Yeah.
So, Vuj, hello, how are you?
I am good. I'd say overall in a good place. Today was a chill day. I actually went to my boys. I went out last night. Ended up sleeping on a couch in my boy's office.
And how did that go?
That was actually I had sleep paralysis.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't
wow, tell me about that.
I don't get it often.
Okay. I've never had that before.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. Like, I don't usually smoke weed. And this time I had a few tokes. You know, we went out, we had a bit of fun, and yeah, it's not really. Yeah, it's a bit too much for me. I think for my sensitive body.
Okay.
And at one point in the night, I just remember I couldn't open my eyes, but I felt like I wanted to move and I couldn't. I just felt like screaming, and I think
So you couldn't open your eyes?
Nah.
Because I think sometimes people, they do open their eyes.
That sounds
and
even
they
scarier.
still can't move.
I'd rather not. I prefer it closed. Because I've had people open their eyes and they see shit. They hallucinate. And they see like figures and stuff. So I'm so happy that doesn't... I hope it never happens to me. And yeah, it was a weird experience. And then I thought I was screaming. And I thought I would have woken up my boy, but I didn't. So I don't think I was screaming. And then I went back to... I fell asleep again. And I had a dream about telling my mum about the paralysis.
Really?
Yeah, it was weird.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was my day. And then I went home, showered, had food. Just, nothing crazy.
What did you eat?
What did I eat today? So I had coffee with biscuits. And I also had egg slut.
Okay.
Have you ever had egg slut?
No.
Ladbroke Grove.
No.
It's like on Portobello Road. Honestly, one of my favourite places I've been to in ages.
Oh.
I think they specialise in eggs. Had an egg and bacon sandwich with truffle... what's them potato things? The triangle ones in McDonald's.
Oh, hash browns?
Yeah, truffle hash browns.
Wow,
was a vibe,
that sounds yummy. I love
coffee,
hash browns.
Went home. Yeah, chilled. So yeah, today's been relatively chill, and now I'm here.
Say who you think like everyone thinks you are.
Oh, in this society, the world we've manifested.
Yeah.
I would say content creator. I would say creative in general. Maybe you could push it towards artist. Perhaps early on in my life, or when I started expressing myself online, be like YouTuber, comedian, and yeah, just been in that world since sort of quite early on.
Yeah, Kirk was showing me your videos from like back in the day.
Yeah.
Like I never knew you did those kind of videos. It's so funny.
I was a bit of a maniac, I think, and I still think I have that side to me. At times, I have perhaps maybe suppressed it or let it go a little bit, and embraced more of a journey of, shall I say, self-awareness or introspection, which has made that part of me a bit less appealing.
Okay.
But
why do you say that?
I don't know. I think when you've got that sort of performer streak to your personality, I think when you create, a lot of times you are seeking validation. And I think that's what maybe subconsciously I really yearned and wanted.
Okay.
And then I think that creativity and that energy sort of wants to be fed, and you put it out, and then you see the feedback from everyone, and you're sort of on this hamster wheel of always chasing that. And I think it's amazing when you're in that sort of flow, and amazing things have happened through me expressing myself. And that was also an alignment of some sort.
Yeah.
And I think it just got to some stage where I was like, I don't know, I didn't feel as comfortable, or maybe I didn't like the characters I was creating. There was a bit more of like a conflict appearing within me.
Okay.
And yeah, I think I've many times in my life been a bit of a conflicted individual within me. So then that can be at times tough to create if you're not aligned, or there is some sort of conflict emerging mentally or emotionally. So yeah, that's what I did early days, and obviously went into presenting football, did a lot of poet, and yeah, now sort of I feel like I've gone full circle, and I feel like I'm once again on a kind of individual journey of expressing again, which for a while I was much more I wanted to just get rid of everything. Like, no, I don't want to do anything anymore.
Yeah.
Was it the pressure? Was it, at times I debate myself whether it was like a self-sabotaging act of maybe a lack of self-belief somewhere there. Certain insecurities were perhaps present.
With what though? Like,
I think there is an element of a fear of failure.
okay.
And I think I felt a lot of pressure of...
Or like letting people down.
Yeah.
Like with your entertainment.
Yeah, or perhaps myself, like maybe not getting the results, because when I started, it was very viral.
So you had high expectations.
Yeah, perhaps the perfectionism, which I think is a form of self-sabotage, and not the best place to create from, but also from perfectionism can come amazing creativity. If you look at people like Kanye West, a lot of people who are...
So you feel like that sort of standards that you held to yourself created you to like look more in?
Yeah, I feel, because I could see that what I was... Perhaps I sought too much.
What you thought you enjoyed was actually affecting.
Yeah. So I started and I enjoyed it. But then once you've done something successfully, and maybe you have a few other ideas that you do once in a while, and then there's more eyes on you. So there is perhaps more expectation that you put on yourself through wanting to now please an audience that wasn't there before. So I think more questions arise of, what do I do next? Do I want to do this? Do I not? And then you have loads of people telling you, no, do this or do that. Oh, no, this is sick. This is da-da-da-da. So there's much more noise, whereas perhaps there wasn't. You'd just be happy to create the noise. And when the noise comes, you're like, oh shit, this is a lot. And I think you have to be quite strong mentally to just keep on going and break through through the noise. And perhaps I wasn't as I didn't have that mental fortitude to perhaps carry on in that, shall I say, elevated manner. However, saying so, I think I have discovered other parts of myself on that journey. So I don't regret it that I haven't maybe grabbed the bull by the balls and just really gone for it. I am a fan of living quite a chilled life. So, everything comes with its negatives and positives, and I think that's the sort of yin and yang of life.
So do you not feel like you can still do what you like, do this passion, but also have the peace? I think
you can. It's just getting into that zone of creating again and wanting to put stuff out into the world.
So you feel like that's kind of put you off wanting to create? Or is creating something you can
I think my desire to do it isn't as high, maybe because my interests have shifted.
And how do you feel about that? Do you feel like this is just part of your journey, or do you feel like, man, you should have just like continued? Or
I mean, at times I think those thoughts can come where you're like, maybe I could have done more, maybe I could have been bigger, or I could have made more money and been in a different place.
I mean, it's obviously never too late though.
I agree, and I think it isn't, and I think that would be a harsh take to think that it's all done and I can't do anything anymore, etc. And I'm happy with what I have done, and I think taking that step back has given me time to reflect.
That's
appreciate maybe the impacts I have had in the sort of YouTube era, and especially the early days of YouTube. And someone's really happy opening that door, innit? I don't know if it's catching up on camera, but someone's there just man is passing through. But yeah, like, overall, I'm satisfied and grateful. I think there is an element of gratitude there, which perhaps when you're in the shall I say, tunnel vision of perhaps pursuing certain goals, you don't have. And I think I didn't have that gratitude, and there was a lot of like just need to keep going. And then I used to have mad anxiety about creating shit. And I just like, and then if I wasn't doing something for 2-3 days, I'd feel like a restlessness of I have to do something, and now I don't feel that, which is lovely. But maybe now I've just gone a bit too much the other way, which is I'm so chill that I can't even be asked to put shit out. But we'll see, innit? I think it's about letting...
So you're still creating then?
Yeah, still bits and bobs. Like, I'm still active on like Instagram and just interacting with people on a day-to-day basis. But I wouldn't say I've been productively creating. I've become more of a consumer, shall I say, of content than a producer. And I feel it's time to once again become more of a producer than just a consumer of information, which can be a bit of an overload at times.
I hear that.
Yeah.
So tell me about like where you're from, born.
Yeah, born in Croatia, ethnically Serbian.
Oh, you was born in Croatia?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, born in Croatia, what is now Croatia. During a war, I came here in 1998, left Croatia for Serbia in 95, and yeah, came to the UK as an asylum seeker. We got them papers now, so hopefully they won't deport me. You never know these days, the way they've been moving and the Windrush and all that, you've been hearing in the news that retrospectively people get deported at times. But yeah, I'm a citizen of the United Kingdom, whatever that means. And yeah, that was actually my first passport. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because when I was born, it was wartime, and it was all a bit messy. And yeah, so a bit of a mad journey. But I think that once again, it adds a different perspective onto life when you come from a nation or a country or a certain situation which is considered perhaps a third world country, but it's a bit out there from it's not Western Europe.
Yeah.
It's the Balkans, which is a bit more I'd say culturally just a different place to the West.
So tell me about like the Serbian culture and how that's played a part in your life.
Yeah, huge part. I think that whole region, the Balkans, ex-Yugoslavia, it's all very similar. I'd say very similar people to like, even though there's a lot of conflict in that region, I mean, it's very similar to Albanian culture, Bosnian culture, Turkish culture, where I think we're a similar mentality of people.
What is the mentality?
I don't know how do I explain it. I think it's an intelligent people overall, passionate. I think there's a lot of passion. I think there's a lack of tolerance for bullshit, and I would say there is perhaps a cynicism of systems innately because that whole region has been in turmoil throughout history many times. So I think people have adapted in different ways, and there is a certain street smartness which is within you from a younger age, and there is also I think very welcoming to foreigners and strangers, because we like to show off our culture and the food and the music and the drink and the alcohol. There's a lot of drinking, a lot of cigarette smoking.
Oh, really?
That whole region is like, I think Serbia is like number one for cigarette smoking.
Oh, wow.
In Europe, yeah, I think it's like that part, and Russia, I think. Yeah, Bosnia, we just love it. Coffee and cigarette in the morning it's just a joke. It's like a staple diet. Yeah.
Wow.
And like your grandparents might have like a shot of rakia, which is like a strong alcohol, and just the Turks call it raki.
Yeah, I see that in movies.
Yeah, no, we love it. We love our food. We love having fun. We love partying. So yeah, I love. I feel like I can relate a lot to people from that area, and yeah, I'm not one of like there's a lot of nationalism in those regions where perhaps one side thinks they're better than the other, and just simply because of all the conflicts that have happened, there's been a lot of hurt, I think, in that area. But I like to see it as if you're a good person, you're a good person, and I try to get along with whoever may be from anywhere. I don't think we should judge people from their backgrounds or where they're from. But no, I love that I'm from there. It's definitely given me a different perspective, and I think it's allowed me to thrive, I think, in the UK as well, because you have to see through a lot of the bullshit, which I think is present in society here, or in many societies. But I think England has a certain hypocritical nature at times. I think there is maybe a arrogance and maybe there's a sense of moral superiority of perhaps the middle classes and the upper classes in Western Europe.
Why do you think that is?
I mean, I think when you've been so dominant collectively as a culture, imperialism, I think that plays a part in it. That kind of is taught, to you in school. And I don't fault that. I don't try to hold an opinion on it per se, but I try to understand more than actively judge, because I think then that can lead to more conflict internally. But if you just observe and see history, and I'm a fan of looking at things in that way, historically, and you look at the present, it all sort of ties in to where we are now, maybe as a society, as a culture. So yeah, I think that's why perhaps certain traits that I've mentioned of superiority exists. America has that as well, like American exceptionalism, where they see themselves as the best and the greatest. And in some essence, you can see, because I've been to Russia and I've been to America as well.
I really want to go Russia.
Yeah, so when I went to America, like observing it, and I had a few relationships with ladies from America. I think I understood it. It's such a huge country. It's vast, so many resources, so beautiful, and it's so creative. I felt in America, and I can see why they do feel they are great, because it has great elements. Of course, it has bad elements that we know about. Then I went to Russia, and I felt a similar energy, but from a different perspective. Was they're a much older nation. Their culture, I would say, is a lot deeper. I think the Americans perhaps overcompensate in their forward thinking. I think when I went to Russia, I was like, I can see why they're so proud, and I can see why they're enemies, because it's also, in a way, they're similar at the same time as they're so different, but there's similarities which I think create that tension and a rivalry on a collective, maybe political, social level. But yeah, man, fucking mad. I love countries and traveling and just observing. I think it's fascinating to observe, human interactions and nature. And I studied politics as well, so
did you?
It's all a bit of like a immersive experience of trying to understand the world.
Yeah. So we spoke about who you are and your journey socially and like what the world thinks and your entertainment side. Tell me about your journey internally.
I feel like the internal journey is it's always happening. I guess it's just how willing we are to maybe self-reflect. I think we intuitively feel certain things, and then we either follow our intuition or go against it. And then I think it's about following that fine-tuning. I think we're almost like a guitar, humans, and then sometimes you might just, go a bit too ham.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You're playing it too much and the strings get a bit broken, or...
Yeah, you just need to play that alignment of...
And then it's about, fixing it up in certain ways, and then, fine-tuning. And I think that sort of inner journey, we are all going through it, and we all express it in different ways. And I think that is a way that I try to understand humanity and maybe my own existence every day, daily, is that sort of self-reflection and fine-tuning and feeling through, trying to connect with the emotion and the feeling of where I want to be. And sometimes the brain tells you one thing, the heart says another, and there's always those battles going on. But yeah, it's I think it's fascinating. I think existence is fascinating. I think like being a human being is like, I think you can even in words at times put it into words what this is.
What is your belief on existence?
I wouldn't say
Are you religious?
I mean, raised like Orthodox Christian. It's a different calendar to like the Protestants and the Catholics, who are just like, for example, Christmas time, 25th December is usually the Christmas. We celebrate on the 7th of January. People always, what are you getting for Christmas? What are you doing for Christmas? I'd be like, nothing. So when school holidays would start, like I'm like, no, I need to take 3 days off for my Christmas.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So little differences there. So elements of, I'd say, religion have played a part in my life. But I think for me, all religion is an element of just connecting to self, having a path to perhaps, once again, the word alignment, align you and allow you to function in a world full of, desires and innate, perhaps, drives to do things which might not be good for us. but we are imperfect, and I think that's just the way of humanity, is that we are imperfect, and it is about striving to be good towards man, fellow human beings, and to yourself, and elevate our consciousness, shall I say. I think that's the path forward. But I wouldn't say I'm like religious, you know. I think I'm just experiencing this madness of just being here. Always like 1 in 300 million chance. I think Gary Vee says it, like of us actually, like the sperm going into the egg is like 1 in.
Yeah, life
might even
is
be more.
so divine.
Like millions of sperm.
Yeah. But yeah, it was like 1 in 300 million, I think. So like, imagine that for us to be here, even in this room, is, you know, when you look at it from those perspectives, it is an amazing thing. And I think
to be grateful for every day.
Yeah, and even like we're lucky to be here. Like I do feel more and more like a grateful element, like that I have a roof over my head, I have food, water. Like sometimes, you know, I run the tap and I just feel the water. I'm like, rah.
Yeah.
If I'm showering, like, whoa, I'm just, this just feels great.
Yeah, no, same. I literally love water. Like that's all I drink.
It is cool.
I don't even drink anything
Really?
else. Yeah, I don't really drink juice.
That's good.
Or
That's why you have good
drink.
skin. And yeah,
Thanks.
I mean, yeah, I went to the seaside the other day, and it was just, I was in the sea, and I was like, rah. I just felt so present, and it was so hot.
Right?
And you get into the sea,
grounding.
and you're like, oh. But I don't like going deep. Like I feel like I respect the sea, and I'm like, nah, I have to be able to stand. I'm not trying to go like, do you know what I mean? Deeper than that. You know when people just jump off boats into the ocean?
That's me.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a fish. You get me?
Fish.
Well, maybe, but I feel like that's their land.
I'm a mermaid.
You get me? Like that's fish's land. That's their thing. So
I
don't see fish just flapping around the high street.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They're not trying to walk. So why am I trying to be a fish? So I try to just, do you know what I mean? Just be. I don't know, man. It's just too dark down there, and like I can't see it. If I can't see where I'm stepping, I'm like, you know what?
No, I totally.
But I respect people that do swim and can be so comfortable in water. I think it is great. I just don't think I'm that guy. Yeah, not for me. But it is.
That's true.
It is very refreshing, and sometimes a little swim is nice too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when did this mindset start?
I think I was always interested in alternative ways of looking at life. Perhaps also had a bit of a not say chip on my shoulder, but maybe a bit of a chip on my shoulder. Where like I don't like listening to like teachers, and like I just felt like people are full of shit sometimes. And then you feel that energy, and you're like, what the fuck's this guy? Do you know what I mean? Like really, this guy? Do you know what I mean? I remember actually being in nursery, first time ever, and then like I've told this story before. Like they're trying to make me nap, like 1 p.m. and I was just there like, why are we all listening to this? Like, why are we napping?
It's true.
I'm like 5, and I was like, why am I being made to nap? I just felt like, I think I always had that sort of
I feel like that about life.
Rebelliousness towards rules.
Same.
You feel me? But the path, I don't know, I think it starts young. I think, yeah, always interested in questioning things. And I think when you're interested in questioning things, you end up going down that journey. One of my first books was like Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle.
I have that bit.
It's all about being aware of the pain body, which is, you know, your hurt side, and kind of allowing it to be, and
the emotions flow.
Let the emotions flow. I need to every time I reread it, I've reread it maybe like twice. It's always like new information, different perspectives as you mature. I think you gain perspective, and truly, I think one of my friends had a tattoo, you know, a perspective is a reality, something like that. And I was like, you know what, it is. I think everyone's perspective is their reality.
It's that quote, life is 10% of what happens and 90% of how you react to it.
Completely. I think that's a huge part of it. Yeah, it was Eckhart Tolle was one of my first books. Celestine Prophecy was another one I read quite early. You know, I'm not a fan of the word spirituality, but for the lack of a better term, I think a path of spirit alignment has always interested in me. And I think when you are of a questioning nature and you feel there is more, you end up down a certain path like that. Because for me, I went down, you know, maybe I studied politics. Politics affected a lot of my early life. I was very interested in politics and justice and why is the world how it is, and maybe there was a certain like aggression towards my approach because I felt there was a bit of pain and passion towards, you know, why do humans commit such atrocities towards each other? Why does war happen?
Yeah.
So I think early on I was always driven by those questions, and I thought maybe at times it was politics is the way that you would sort these things out, where it's like, you know, they're doing wrong and we need to ban the Tories and ban these, man. But I was always like, ban them all. Like, ban Labour as well, just everyone.
Yeah, literally.
And only when Corbyn nearly had it, I kind of got interested at one point, and then kind of went down that path of, oh, let me see if this is it. I felt like he was sort of somewhat aligned to my way of thinking, which is more of a pacifist nature. But then I thought, nah, I felt, once again, I think politics is a dirty game, and I think you can't be completely honest. I think it lacks integrity and honesty. And to be, I think we're just beyond that. We're beyond the system of a two-party state.
Yeah.
Because how can you generalize so many people into
I'm not gonna lie. I just think it's all
parties.
Just set up. It's all just
it's a joke thing, really.
It's literally like I don't even bother about it.
Yeah, no, I think
I don't even read about it. I don't even care about it.
Yeah, I can see why. I think a lot of people don't, and you know, a lot of people get angry. People say that they don't vote, but I think once again,
it's a way to make us feel like we have a say, but we don't. Like everything's just.
Yeah, I think once you start going more and more down the rabbit hole, it does feel like a bit of a flippant gesture. Like, oh yeah, I voted, and you feel important, and it's like, oh, I did something, and it's like, yeah. Don't get me wrong, like policies do affect people day to day, and perhaps, you know, a certain party might be better than another party, but it's the argument, I would say, of lesser of two evils, where neither genuinely strike me as genuine and authentic to bettering humanity. I do think a lot of it is business interest, selfishness,
100%.
ends up being tribal, once again divisive, and then you end up sort of going in this rabbit hamster wheel of the same shit happening all the time. And then we're like, why is this? And it's like, why is it happening? Because it's too far gone, and I think we're desiring the different ways of functioning as humans, and I think this is why society right now is where it's at and has sort of like bubbled to surface a lot of these things, and you can't hide it anymore. So things have cracked, and now we're in a new age. Sorry. So yeah, maybe you know. Have you got water?
Yeah, I'm gonna get some.
Ross. Yeah, that one looks blessed. Even if it's open, it's calm. I don't fear, as long as it's not something else. But yeah, man. Yeah, I think the path of self-reflection and spirituality is one which most of us are on, and I think is going to become more and more of a thing as society cracks, as people start noticing more and more the cracks in the systems itself, start losing faith in the systems. I think when you lose faith in the systems maybe that you've had before, it can be really tough for people to stomach, and then it leads to wanting to find new ways of being. And I think that's what, you know, perhaps a lot of us are on. You know, like Russell Brand's one of the most popular channels now online. I was watching him from early, and I can resonate with his journey of kind of politics and pointing out the things which are wrong. And then now, you know, he's more, I would say, he's a critic of the system as a whole, not just of one way. I think before he was much more critical of, like, you know, let's say the Tories and sort of inequalities of their ways of running the nation, whereas now it's much more of I'd say, a spiritual approach. Yeah, so I think we're all gonna be on that vibe, and I think more and more people are on that vibe.
I believe that like we're all spiritual beings having a human experience. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think we're like energetic species who have these egos that are developed, and then, you know, a lot of layers accumulate due to conditioning, and then I think the spirit is somewhere, you know, that's always the basis, and all that other stuff is the human experience, and it's about connecting to that core as much as we can and living.
Do you believe in karma?
I would say karma exists. I would say that is for a long time. I think I did live on that path of like do as you want to be done towards yourself, which is also like I think a mantra in all religions. You know, treat others how you want to be treated is big. Then yeah, I think what you put out there does eventually come back to you. And I think that's is that a Buddhist approach? Karma? I'm not sure. Is it Buddhist? Yeah, Buddhism's great as well. So yeah, no, I'm a believer of karma for sure. Definitely. I mean, some people you'd say maybe it doesn't come back to them because you look at like, I don't know, politicians and certain criminals, whatever, and they get away with things. But do they? We don't know internally what they're going through. So, you know, there has to be a certain element of suffering that I think you go through if you consciously put people through pain.
So tell me more about like, I remember when we spoke before, you were talking about meditating.
I tried meditation once with my ex, and she took me to some like Buddhist like circle. It was like a little, I don't know, center or whatever. And I had a really, what should I say, spiritual experience, but I had a really kind of emotional experience where I was following this guy telling us how to meditate, sitting in silence, and then I just felt this bliss overcome my body. And it just released a lot of like tears. I just had like a lot of like, tears come out. And it was a beautiful experience. It kind of came out and I felt like, wow, that was powerful. It was very blissful, but...
Was it like a guided meditation?
Yeah, sort of like a guided meditation. And then I think, I was like, rah, that's mad. That was my first time. Like, what the fuck? But I think it just showed I had a lot of pent up, perhaps, emotion, and maybe
everyone does.
Exactly. I think I was ready for that at that time. And then, as I think the human ego does, or the mind, it tries to then recreate. So I was like, this is what will happen every time. And then when I felt frustrated at times, I'd try and do that, and I'd be like, "Wow, why is that not happening anymore?" And I stopped for like 5 years. And then when I was going through some shit, struggling again, I was like, "Nah, that's mad." That I remember when it happened. So let me try and reconnect with that path. And then as I started to sort of let that happen again, and meditating kind of became a daily practice for me, with the help of just a few videos online. You had like, you know, from Alan Watts. I started to listen to a lot to a guy called Muji. There's a lot of
you
like...
were telling me, I did watch a few of his meditations.
Guided meditations.
He even has videos of like, I think the last one I was watching was like how to let go, like how to just...
Yeah, it's about releasing and kind of being in that present. So yeah, I even like went on like a little retreat in Portugal that he runs. So I went quite deep down the path, 2018-ish, 2017-ish. That was great. That was amazing experience. So yeah, and then I was on that path for a bit, meditating a lot, like a few hours a day at times, just sort of sitting in my room in silence. That's how I do it now, like no guided vibes, just sort of sit there in silence and let the mind settle itself. And it's been powerful. I think it's a powerful journey, and it just showed me that everything I thought I knew, I didn't really know.
Yeah.
And I think that's the process of deprogramming in some essence, because of all that conditioning and you know, from nation, which is also a concept, you know, religion, also arguably a concept. You know, we have so many cultural conditioning, the music I listen to, what I'm attracted to, pornography, like there's so many different food.
Yeah.
A lot of it is just environmental and what forms us. And I think at times we think we are all those things, especially in identity. I think identity is a big source of conflict. And I think that through meditation, a lot more answers came. I think a wider understanding of my life, and probably other people as well, started to come to me. And I did eventually sort of trickle off, and I started, you know, lockdown happened and all that shit happened. And I think that became like the primary focus, and the frustration came back. I think that's when, you know, it was good that happened, but that sort of element of being frustrated again, it wasn't gone. I think it still showed me, you know, I don't think you ever reach a complete enlightenment.
No,
I
I
don't
feel
think that.
like life is a forever journey.
Definitely. I don't think you reach it. So, and I think if you say you have reached enlightenment, I think is quite an arrogant statement. So I'm cautious of those that claim to be enlightened. I think that's a dangerous place to be. So I think you always have to keep an element of being grounded to yourself in whatever journey you're on. But then lockdown happened and stuff, and then kind of went off it, and then I got a bit angry and frustrated and started to discover different ways.
Like working on your triggers or...
And now obviously like lockdowns, I just thought that was a bit mad, and I didn't really agree with
yeah, a lot of
that
the things
path
that yeah.
and the thing that was happening. I think there was a lot of questioning that had to be done, and I felt said triggered. I felt a bit alarmed by society at that point. It didn't feel good, but at the same time, good does come off it. I started playing football. I started playing basketball. I actually started connecting more people on a just a physical level, because I was on that sort of meditative internal path while doing the presenting and the football presenting. That was a weird one, like having a character outwardly, but then being on an inward journey. And that can sometimes be a bit difficult.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Because you're doing that, but you're having to be like, hey, that's a tough one to process. So it was sort of like the merging. That's what I've been sort of trying to do, is like merge
Finding
the two.
Balance.
Find a balance rather than go fully one way or fully the other way.
Yeah.
So that's how I started, was fully that way.
Yeah.
And then I went a bit fully that way. And then I think it's about merging.
Yeah.
And the yin and the yang is a beautiful sign. It is the merging of both. And it is the one, because in essence, you could say it is, it all is part of the one experience. So I'm not a fan of dividing it. I think it's about integrating. So I've been on that path of integrating it all.
I want to go back to the book, the Celestine Prophecy.
Yeah.
I was reading like some of the main points from the book, so I just want to talk about some of them. 5 life lessons from the Celestine Prophecy. This is a book, by the way. So the first life lesson is to embrace serendipity. The first insight occurs when we become conscious of the coincidences in our lives. The first insight occurs when we take the coincidences seriously. These coincidences make us feel there is something more, something spiritual, operating underneath everything we do. I don't believe in coincidences. I believe that everything happens for a reason, and like, we shouldn't just brush something off as a coincidence. We should actually take that as something more meaningful.
Yeah, I've had hella. Yeah, I think it's what you put out. You do, in some sense, create your own luck. Judging by my life to this day, there's been too many coincidences and just mad paths that have led to situations which are so hard to even like put together and be like, no, that was just happening. But I think that is the magic of creativity as well, is when you put stuff into the world, and the power of the mind. When we do put our minds to something consciously and from a pure place, it can really lead to some very magical moments and experiences. I think when we begin to overly question that and perhaps become too enclosed and shut off from the world, then that's when you stop those wonderful things happening. And I think I've had an experience of both. So I think you do have to be a bit more open and at the same time conscious.
I see it as like, they're not coincidences to me. They're more like synchronicities. So you get into alignment with whatever frequency you're in, and you'll receive synchronicities of that alignment.
How's it been for you?
Yeah, it's been like really eye-opening, because coincidences to me are so magical that it can't be a coincidence.
So you believe in like fate? You in fate? That's a tough one.
Not so much fate. It's just you attract what level you're on. Like you synchronize with what you are, what level you are at, like what vibration you are vibrating, what frequency you are on.
Yeah, for sure. Very true.
Something bad happens and like something else happens, like, what's the chances of that happening? But
true.
You was on that
a lot
level.
of the times we create our own issues, I would say, from experience.
We create our own reality.
Yeah, yeah,
What do
whether
you think
that
about
is,
that?
yeah,
Yeah.
I would say overall, yeah, there's many variables, I think, environmentally which contribute, whether and what position you're in, for sure. But I think the essence of how we create is, yeah, it is our own doing a lot of the time.
Yeah.
I think sometimes, if a baby's born in, famine, that's, you can't really say it's the baby creating that.
Oh yeah, no,
That
of
sort
course,
of,
yeah.
the environment and the luck of that human has led them into that, very tough part of life. I mean, for me, it was during a war that I was born, so it's not the best place to be. Probably one of the worst, places. Once again, it could have been worse, and once again, is it luck? Is it coincidence that we managed to get to where we were, and then for me to end up in the UK and then create so many things and communicate with so many people, and is that? I mean, it feels to me like there is something higher happening.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to just rationally explain it, especially certain like dreams and things I wanted to do did manifest and happen. Even like relationships, I'd say I manifested a lot of even like more romantic relationships, where I put out things that I wanted and I put myself out there and they happened. Didn't all end up well, but once again, when it doesn't, I think, end up well, it leads to more lessons.
Do you have like a style of manifesting?
I don't think so. I don't even know what's meant by that question. I wouldn't say
Like,
like I can't. The word manifest. I think like things are always manifesting. Not really. I used to like write things down. I think it was more like I had an idea and I'd be like, oh, I'd want that. That's more like through thought and action. Things would manifest. But was I like consciously always like, no, this is what I want? Not really. But I think now I'm reconnecting to that way of being. Yeah, because for a while I just gave up. I was like, I'm done. Had enough of everything. I was just not in the best place. Ended up being a bit of a nihilist. Nihilism is not a good path to be. It's just like when nothing matters. You feel like nothing matters. You're sort of in that dark place, and then I think you can't even create from that. That's just not a good place to be.
The second life lesson is embrace the energy of nature. I think it's really important to see the beauty in nature. Like, did you know that roses have like a really high frequency?
No.
Yeah. And that's why obviously love is supposed to be like the highest frequency. And roses actually like the highest or closest to the frequency of love.
Okay. No, it makes sense. I think a lot of I know it's like our body or DNA, the helix of the DNA, you can find it in certain elements of nature, and you're like the numbers 369 and the patterns, and a lot of them are present in the universe.
Like sacred geometry.
Yeah, sacred geometry. I never looked too much into it, but when you go into those minute, microscopic levels, how things are functioning on energetic forms that I don't know enough about. I'm sort of more committed, I'd say, to I don't know, semi-physical, also metaphysical way, but I don't go too far into it. I think that shows the magic. But I say even like, what's it called? Quantum physics.
Quantum physics.
Like when you like zoom into this physical thing, it's actually
it's just energy.
It's just energy.
It's
like
all just
but
energy.
condensed or whatever. And but I think that just shows the power of you can change whatever circumstance you're in. There's so many people that heal themselves. I think that's fascinating. People heal themselves from like diseases where they're on their deathbeds and they manage to, through changing their mindsets.
That's how it's supposed to be. Like, that's how things are.
Yeah, I would say so. I think a lot of it is suppressed.
And it's just depended on like big pharma and
big pharma, the financial elements. I see it in America when I go there, and then on the TV they'll have like, take this for Have you heard about infomercials?
No.
It's like 30-minute adverts. A lot of the time they're like for pharmaceutical things. Then they'll sell like a medicine which treats the side effects of a medicine. Do you know what I mean? It's like hyper big pharma over there. But once again, I think that's the disconnect that we as humanity, as a consciousness, have placed ourselves in through, you know, how we've been living, what we've been eating, schooling, politics, society, all these conditions and conditioning we've created, all these layers, you know, it's disconnected us from nature. And nature is wow, magnificent. Sometimes I just go chill in the park.
We are nature.
I've hugged a couple trees in my life.
Yeah.
Vibes. When you just let it happen,
it's actually grounding.
It feels amazing. I never thought, my mum used to do it, I thought she was mad. At one point I just let my ego, should I say, like just accept it rather than laugh at it and be like, that's fucking dumb shit.
Yeah.
When I came into...
But there is actually a science behind it, you know.
Yeah, the energetical, whatever the tree is doing, it kind of aligns with our inner whatever. I don't know exactly. I haven't like researched it, but it feels it. I feel it when I do it sometimes.
Yeah.
I think that's why you feel at peace in nature. That's why.
Do you know about like grounding, earthing?
Yeah, like taking your shoes off and just like standing. Done that a couple of times.
Because we absorb the earth's negative ions. That helps with like our blood cells and stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that. But it feels good, so I agree. It sounds like, the right thing.
Yeah.
Nature is definitely, I think, anybody that struggles or has struggled maybe mentally, emotionally, nature is a healer. Without a shadow of a doubt. I think go into nature and it'll put you in the right place, 100%.
So was there anything that happened in your life that kind of made you turn like a spiritual awakening or like a dark night of the soul?
Yeah, hella shit happened. Yeah, it's like everything that I thought I knew shattered into a lot of pieces. But then it made me want to explore different paths. My energy used to be very quite, can I say, like up and down, isn't it? A lot of highs, a lot of lows, even in the creative aspect of like I'd created it. And like even with Kirk, we filmed like Cheeky Nando's, like a really good parody that we did really well. But then I felt shit after, like it came out, and I was just like, I remember we had a beer and a cigarette outside a petrol station to celebrate. It hit 1 million views. It ended up.
Oh, that's lit though.
Yeah, it ended up on a. Where did it end up again? It ended up on the TV thing, like the you know that 100 top videos of the year.
Yeah.
What's that guy on Channel 4, E4 or something? Where it's like I wanted to be on that badly. There's something about putting things out there. I'd be like, wow, I want to be on that show. And it's like basically it's like the top 100 videos of the year wrapped up.
Wow.
I forgot what it was called. It was a bait show. And I was like, even before the song I did, I remember saying to myself, I really want to, like, one day I want to be on that show. And then I ended up being on the show for putting that video out.
Wow.
Yeah, just loads of random shit like that.
That's amazing.
I'd love to meet, I love that footballer, and I ended up interviewing that footballer, or, you know, play football, and then, like, I didn't, you know, become a footballer. A lot of boys' dreams is to be a footballer. I wasn't good enough. I also stopped. I was a goalkeeper. I stopped because I felt too scared in games. I felt so much anxiety of letting people down on the team, of making mistakes. I would make mistakes, and I stopped playing. And I loved football. And like I loved goalkeeping, and I just stopped. I stopped going training, and I was like, no, I'm never playing again in terms of pursuing it. So that was like 14, 15. But then 4 years later, I ended up presenting in the football world and coming up with ideas which would then lead me to experiences of being in football, and then eventually, as the football YouTube space got bigger, playing football on football pitches. So I've played at Wembley Stadium like 3-4 times.
Wow,
like I've scored a goal at Wembley Stadium. Like I've played at Liverpool Stadium. So it's almost like there's always a different way you can experience, I think, the reality you'd want. And in a way, I've done what I wanted.
And I feel like that was supposed to be your journey.
Exactly. So, you know, through that perhaps very tough thing to do for me is like to stop it in that way on a competitive level, but then go in a different path or end up in a different path. You know, it is pretty awesome. Do you know what I mean? And when you put shit out there, it can be great. But yeah, little things happen. Like, you know, I put myself out there, just, you know, trying to be funny and silly, and then, you know, Poet, he shouted at me for an audition. We got the audition. Do you know what I mean? And he only saw me through a certain thing, and I shouted at him, do you want to be in this video? But just for, I think, putting yourself out there in a authentic manner.
Yeah.
to where you're at that stage can lead to many things. This is what I think about. I don't know if it's fate or if it's luck or if it's serendipity or is it what's the word you used? It was not fate. It was synchronicities can lead to so many magical things. So, I've definitely experienced a lot of synchronicities. I remember one time I saw this girl on my friend's page, and I was like, "Rah! Like, who's this girl?" Just through her profile, I felt like I wanted to meet her.
Yeah.
And 2 days later,
you met her.
No, I went to a party, and she was an American girl, innit? So I went to a party, and I didn't have ID. I got to the front, and I was like, I'm not even gonna get in. And the security were like, "Yeah, go on," and then just go in. I was like, "Cool, sick." And then she was at that party, and then I ended up dating the girl. Do you know what I mean? So it's mad, isn't it? You just never know. Put stuff out there, and it can really happen.
You're really good at this, then. You need to tell me the secret.
I don't know what the secret was, but I just know. I think at that time moment, I thought I wanted it. I mean, that thing didn't work out. I think an issue happens at times when stuff starts to break up, and that's when I think that reality can crumble. But then you have to reform yourself in different ways. But yeah, the mind's very powerful. I've experienced it for sure. But I think what I was saying earlier with Kirk, who's filming this, like putting shit out and then just not feeling good after. Like it's almost like I preferred the creating it, and then when it would hit the numbers and whatever, just felt empty and like down, almost like depressed. It was weird.
I feel like that's the polarity.
Perhaps there was a big polarity within me.
Because it was doing so well, you kind of...
Yeah, I didn't enjoy it. So a lot of the time, I didn't enjoy my successes, which I think is a interesting, really polarity and this disparity in what maybe one should feel at a certain stage. But that's why it made me want to question things more. I'd be like, why do I feel like this? So what, man just has to keep doing things? Like, am I ever actually going to feel satisfied?
Yeah.
And I think now I'm sort of a bit more of a balanced level. Whereas for a while I didn't understand it. So I wanted to understand myself more. Yeah. It's a mad thing, life.
So you are from Serbia, and I didn't know you was born in Croatia.
Yeah.
And obviously Nikola Tesla.
Yep, he's on my leg. If you don't know, you know now.
He was born in Croatia, which I learned today.
Hour and a half away from where I was born.
Okay.
Which is pretty cool. Bit of lie? Slyly.
He's literally one of my favorites.
Man, Tesla's he was an incredible being, it seems. I never met him, but from what I'm seeing, he was obviously changed the way we live. His inventions and I think way of thinking was incredible and way ahead of his time.
Oh yeah,
way ahead of his time. He said something which I thought was brilliant. Damn it, he said something like, "Oh fuck, I'm gonna butcher this." It was like because he's talking about science, and it was like when science stops trying to like make sense of the material world and starts looking at things from a more energetical, energy frequency, etc.
But one of my favorite quotes from him is, "If you want to learn the secrets to the universe, think in terms of energy, vibration, and frequency."
So he was obviously on some connected path. And my man
he created free energy, like free electricity.
That was his goal, was free electricity for the world, And commonly he was in beef with Edison, which once again shows you how perhaps the Western world and a lot of the world, we could have gone a different path.
Yeah.
But maybe collectively we weren't ready, and maybe now we are more ready. But the AC, the alternative current system, it was all money. Yeah, Edison was more of a capitalist. His ideas maybe at that time came to more fruition in his sense, but what the world runs on is Tesla's ideas in terms of electricity and energy, and that was once again I think significant in human history, and we can learn lessons from those situations. My man he was on a different level, and I'm proud to be of, let's say, a similar heritage and from the same region as such a great thinker and inventor as well. So yeah, I had to kind of pay homage. I don't know if he would approve, but yo, big man, you're on my leg, innit? So
I'm sure he would.
he was great. He was great. So he's a big inspiration for a lot of people like from that region. He's like the airport in Serbia is called Nikola Tesla Airport.
Oh, really?
He's got like a statue. He's got a museum. So he's one of, I'd say, Serbia's greatest exports, apart from maybe Novak Djokovic. And then you got Nikola Jokic, MVP in basketball right now. And then maybe me. Me in London, innit? Like, there's not many from, let's say, my background, let's say, maybe in a public-facing sphere or platform in the UK. So, yeah.
Some say that Nikola Tesla went to like Antarctica and was like doing work on spaceships, you could say.
There's no way unless this is a simulation, I think there's no way that that other life forms don't exist.
Yeah.
Probably even more intelligent than us. We're probably one of the more, as amazing as we can be, also one of the more limited life forms, perhaps, that exist
Do you feel
in
like
the universe.
Other species has come to...
Yeah, probably. I think you mentioned it on the phone. I think you said that they're probably here, innit? There's this video which gave me goosebumps, and it was I think it was in South Africa or Zimbabwe or something, where all these school kids said they saw saucers come down, land. They saw these like species, like all in black, like with long heads, like just look at them.
Whoa.
And they all and then they interviewed all these kids after on TV, and then one of the girls was like, I felt like the person, like she was like, she couldn't speak, weren't speaking, but she felt like one of the things that it told her was we need to be careful of technology as the world develops. And they were like, did you ever think about these things before? And she was like, no, it's the first time I ever thought about those things. And little kids.
Oh, really?
Like 5, 6.
Wow.
Like young. And like, yeah, powerful. I got goosebumps every time I think about it, talk about it. But yeah, I think there was a guy that spoke about it on the Joe Rogan podcast, and mad. That is intense. That's very intense. But yeah, I believed them, and they interviewed them again, like when they were 30, 40.
Oh, really?
And they still said this.
In Africa?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that one is mad.
Mad, isn't it? And they said this. They said the same thing. Like, yeah, no, like, and it seems like it's real. I don't know, just from their responses, you're like, this looks authentic. So I believe in it, bro.
There's a lot of different stories.
And that's what I was saying. That's why I believe that we can speak like telepathically, because I've actually heard from many people and many sources that they've had these experiences before, where they've spoken to them, but not through language, just telepathically.
Oh, language is limiting, yeah. Yeah, for sure. Languages, I think, like in a lot of spiritual practicing, silence is. People have like silent retreats and stuff. Yeah. I think that's all just to lower, not lower, maybe quieten the noise which exists in so many minds. I think a lot of people say, I can't meditate because, the mind can be so noisy and it can be difficult.
And we have like so many thoughts.
Yeah, to face that, when I think, in essence, I think I have experienced that sort of more silent reality, and I think behind it is a lot of bliss. I think existence that we can have a lot of happiness can be self-created, and I think when you go down that path, you can see it, and then it's about adjusting to this world. Trying to live in this world, being a happy person, I think is difficult for sure. You have to let go of a lot of things.
Yeah,
detach, but then not also be just cold. It's like detach but not be cold. It's almost like life's God, whatever you want to call it, plays this sort of game of like hide and seek, or maybe like you think it's over there, but it's actually over there. Like, no, I'm doing this, but I'm doing all the right things.
Yeah.
But maybe the way you're doing it isn't right. I want to be this, but it's all here.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is that internal thing where it is all inside us.
Yeah.
But we're taught and we live in a world which everything is just flashing lights everywhere, innit? And you're just like, I want all of this. And then one day you have to sort of just, I think that's a lot of trouble in the world exists because we think everything is so external.
Yes.
Yeah.
And people need to look more internal and go within.
Yeah. I respect, I think, everyone's level of whatever path they're on. And then you just gotta live your fucking best life, innit, man? Just gotta fucking be here and enjoy this shit. Because in this realm, I don't know how long, we're gonna be here. Feel me?
Yeah. How long do you think we're gonna be?
Fuck knows. I don't know. I haven't given it that much thought. I just don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like, what happens after? I don't know, man. Like, something happens, innit? Or nothing happens. You get me?
Yeah, and the same with like where we were before we were born. Do you believe in like reincarnation?
Don't know. Can't prove it really. Not even because I can't prove it. I'm open to the idea.
Yeah.
And the thought. Like, I was probably a monkey. I think I could imagine if I was something in past life, it would be a monkey.
Why is that?
Yeah, they're just mischievous.
Oh.
And I think they're quite like fun. But also highly intelligent species. So I would want to be a monkey, I think. Yeah. Now, what do you reckon you were in a past life?
Honestly, I don't know. I think it's something to do with water though, because I have this crazy
water.
connection to water. Yeah, like I literally love water. I love drinking it. I love being in it. Everything about it is just, I proper like appreciate it.
Finding Nemo vibes.
Yeah.
Sick.
Maybe I was a mermaid.
Yeah. Mermaid. Dope.
Why would I be an elephant? No, I wasn't an elephant.
You might have been the opposite.
How do you think meditation has like helped you?
Just quiet in my mind. Made me a little bit more chilled out. I don't know how I would have been like as a human if I didn't begin to meditate. Feel me? Like, maybe I would have been richer. You feel me? I don't know. Maybe I would have made more bread.
Why?
I don't know, because I would have been more focused on the external. I think that would have maybe
so.
been my more of a interested path for me, because that would have been the thing to keep me going and keep me driven in that external manner. But also, you never know. Do you know what I mean? You never know. I think, as you said, we're all on these paths for a reason, and they all happen for a reason. Maybe I needed all of this to happen in this manner. And now it's about, I think, taking some sort of responsibility, discipline, and creating a new version of oneself, or an improved version. Definitely not there. I'm a very non-disciplined person.
Really?
I love wandering. I'm a bit of a wanderer / vagabond. I like just like walking around, just going with the wind, which isn't the best thing, because then the wind blows you one way and then you're like a leaf, just like, then you're like an air and you're there. You get me? So, like, you need a bit more. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And I think that's where passion comes in, and a purpose and a drive. And then when you connect to that energy and you connect to both, I think you can really live in alignment. I wouldn't say I'm there yet, but I'm pretty much more zenned out, which is cool.
When you feel low, like, how do you come out of that?
Just fucking let it happen, innit? I think I'm okay. Like, when I feel low now, I feel more okay with it. And before, I was trying to run away from that shit. And I think now I'm like, all right, what up? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what up, buddy?
Kind of just accept it for what
Yeah,
it
you're
is.
feeling bad? Okay, you get me? Let's rock and roll.
Is there anything you do to just pick yourself up, or do you just like
Might have a coffee.
coffee?
Might just sit there, just like disconnect from my phone and shit. That's definitely an overbearing one. I think is the phone thing is a bit mad, isn't it? That one's a fucking distracting. The man's just there, just consuming info. You get me? I'm just like, just fucking, yo, what's happening? I want to know what's happening so I can question things more. And you get me? And then it's just a bit, I think it just becomes a bit too much.
Do you ever have FOMO?
Yeah, no, because I have lived, like, I've done a lot of shit, and like I have, actively pursued experiences, which I think is fucking dope. A lot of like traveling through work and just life, and then like partying. I love dancing. I like music. I love rhythm. I love like being there and it moving. I like movement. So I wouldn't say so, nah. Especially because I've actively put myself out there. Like, yeah, FOMO, not really, nah. I like chilling by myself, so.
Like your own company?
I like a bit of 50-50, yeah. I think I'm, well, if you want to go down that angle, I'm a Gemini, like, typical Gemini. Not that I'm a big fan of...
Are you more introverted or extroverted?
I say 50-50. Maybe lean towards introverted a bit more.
Yeah.
But I think it just depends on, like, you get me?
Who you're around.
The mood. Yeah, what I'm around. The energy, and then I maybe mirror the energy back. Or, yeah. But definitely, yeah, more of a balance now, which is good. Thank God.
Well, we're going to come to the end of the show. To end my show, I like to do a bit of gratitude. So,
Okay.
do you want to tell me 3 things you're grateful for?
I am grateful for breathing. I'm grateful for running water,
Yes.
which is like clean running water. I think definitely one to be grateful for. And I'm grateful for having a bed to lie in. Like, whenever I go into my bed, I'm like,
Yes.
fam, this is dope. Do you know what I mean? So,
and what's
definitely
one
3
thing that
things.
you're grateful for specifically that's happened today?
Today, I am grateful for egg slut in Ladbroke Grove. Like, yo, that sandwich was wavy. Like, I love food, innit?
No, I love that though.
Just
That
like
is something you should be grateful for.
just bit into it, and then like the bread felt a bit greasy. It's like a little bun. The bacon was crispy. The egg was done to perfection.
Bacon.
I do eat bacon.
No,
So
I
yeah,
used to eat bacon when I was
Oh,
it was wavy.
same. I used to eat it.
I know it's not the most clean food in the world. I know pigs are a bit controversial, and but it just felt right. And then the egg, like it can be too runny sometimes.
Yeah.
Like when you put it down, it runs a bit too much. It was just running a little bit, so I could have enough time to bite it
It was
again.
enough.
Bro, they smashed it. Bit of ketchup as well. Ooh. I love food, so.
going to be grateful for this vegan donut.
I'm gonna be grateful for that as well. Can't lie.
Yes.
Hey, little
Got the
vegan
donut
donut.
there.
I'm a little bad still. So yeah, man, grateful for a few things. You get me? Like, yeah, man. This podcast was cool as well. So
Thank
yeah,
you.
man.
I'm
Appreciate you.
grateful for having you on here.
Thank you for having me. It's been a
And then
blessing.
to end, for real, a 1-minute meditation.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Oh, bomber clock. Okay. Well, I
Yeah,
wasn't
just
expecting
gonna-
that. Oh, is that what you do with everyone that you're on with?
Yeah, it's my
Oh,
intention.
okay.
Just to kind of end it. Just a minute meditation.
Cool.
That's a good little lingo, minute meditation.
Yeah, not bad.
So yeah, just gonna inhale, do some deep breathing.
I've never done this on like a podcast before.
Everything.
True.
Yeah. And then end with a hug.
Nice to meet you, love.
Nice to meet you.
Nice one. Best of luck with the pod. And
Thank you for
conversating
being
with-
on my show. What a time to be aligned.
What a time to be aligned, baby.
It's all about being in alignment.
And having a nice. Have a nice.
Having a nice.
That's the vibes. That's my philosophy. Have a nice.
Have a nice.
Yeah.